Suarez enjoying winter during summer. I mean, in tropical countries, it's like only the wet seasons and dry, and the weather is just bad. For example, why the importance of Genting Highland? Why everybody should be inspired by the Genting Highland is it's like Kuala Lumpur or Petaling Jaya is not far from the north. I mean, the Genting Highland is to the north, where the sunrise, is from. Anyway, so it is important in the Trinity City or the Dream Island series in Nusa Nusa, Tirun, Intaulan, and Tabawan. It's like maybe building, I just saw the Sampea, you know, inspired by this, the building inspired by this in Cambodia. Um, that was financed by Chinese. Chinese aren't putting people down. Chinese are uplifting people up. You know. So, and Chinese have money, and yes, Chinese are very ugly. At least they work hard. What else? And for this Singaporean, right, and the Taiwanese, they look like Chinese, and they're not. They're so insecure. They look like Chinese. They're Chinese. I mean, yeah, and also their work ethics is also Chinese. So that's what makes them ugly. They're not proud of themselves. You know that's what makes them ugly. If they're not proud of themselves. Because if they don't accept themselves, like Singaporeans, they look like Chinese, ugly, yes. But Chinese, work hard, and look at what is happening in the world. So under Kim Jong Un, the dictator of North Korea, Genting Highland. So thinking global under the dictator, without having to split the sea, without Moses having to split the sea, in the Sea Games, no, China could actually unite. China could unite the sea instead of splitting the sea into two. Or anyway, so yes, and for the ugly people, work hard. And it would be wrong for me to apologize. Maybe I'm one of them. I sometimes feel ugly, look ugly. Like today, I feel like ugly. So yes, a tribute to those who are ugly. A tribute to those. But me, I look like ugly, but I'm perfect. Look at there is a triangle. You look at on my face. I'm perfect. So, yes, I am delusionally beautiful. That is perfection. Yeah, and I am the best role model because I am inspired by the nature. Yeah, for example, in a tropical countries where they could actually build mega structures to reach the sky, where it could suck, because up there is very very cold. Up there is very very cold, so it could suck air, building mega structures that could suck air from the skies and spread it onto the ground, so that Tirun, Bintalan, and Tabawan could be, you know, could be turned into a colder place, with the best. For example, it could be, the building could be could be could be like the Sampea in Cambodia, and also like the cables, the cables where it doesn't have to. I mean, where the architects or engineers don't have to fear about the strong winds that the strong winds. So if it is like a cable structures or the Sampea, I mean, where the air couldn't where the strong winds or storms how do I say this, couldn't collapse, couldn't push the buildings onto the ground. I mean, collapsing. Anyway, I believe they would understand. What I'm saying. For example, in Kuala Lumpur, I mean, they could have, for example, here in Kuala Lumpur, they could have like big underground tunnel for the train stations, build underground tunnel, or suck the air from North Korea. Genting Island is North Korea, where these spaces, could actually suck the air from there, without having to build high-rise buildings, just to have the colder air, because it's so hot. Sometimes it could get hotter, people, yeah, that is the example. What else can I say? Yeah, Chinese and Kim Jong Un, and I'm actually the boss. The baby is the boss, the baby boss, the baby boss, the baby boss. So yes, the importance of letting me be here instead of just like I always see the arrow, right, that I have to follow. I'm the boss here. I'm the boss here. I'm the boss who is self caging myself, just like the Chinese have been speaking badly about the Chinese. But they didn't do anything to me, because I mean, look at what the humiliations that I did to them. Look at them now. They become stronger. And they come out as these mongoloid-looking creatures. They become what? They become the number one. Aiming for the gold and diamonds. So, and they have achieved that. Twinkle twinkle in the star, shining, in the sky. Yeah. So that is the importance of not apologizing. If you tell the truth, you don't apologize, because otherwise it would be. I mean, it's also the inspiration from the Branham, Mr. Branham, Espiritu Santa Claus. This. Imagine having a beautiful face and also intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Having beautiful faces and intelligent statues, but they couldn't achieve that, because compared to the Mongoloid, ugly Chinese, is even if Chinese go to the Harvard University, they would Asians and always end up the number one, top one in the class because Asians are just ugly, short, and but inside the brain, is number one. So the Asians, we could actually, just like me. I don't look like Chinese, but Chinese are under me, and that is true. I'm brown, the copper skin, but yes, Chinese are already here. I'm still sharpening my brain. I'm still sharpening my brain. So yes, who is number one? Look like this. The number one looks like this. Okay, not the beautiful statues, white white race. Not the Arabs. Arabs are stupid. Arabs are stupid, and sometimes they look like stupid anyways. So those stupid could be my slaves, that I could eat like my fruit. So delicious. These Arabs and Middle Eastern man and the Pakistani man, and these people, you know, they can be stupid. They don't have to go for college educations like Pakistani or you know, what would the beautiful faces produce? Beautiful faces as well. Beautiful faces, whether it's beautiful woman or beautiful man, handsome man or like physical. What would they produce? Handsome man and beautiful ladies, and everybody loves beautiful ladies. Everybody loves handsome man. I mean, hello. We have in our family like so handsome, so tall, and things like that, and we love them. So for the ugliest, yeah, we also end up on top. We also end up on top of the list. We also end up enslaving them. You know what I'm saying? Because we are the most intelligent. This is the most intelligent. This is the most intelligent. This face, this brown, the evil brown, proud. So yes, the most wanted face. I have perfect. Everything about me is perfect. Everything about me is perfect. Perfect. The perfect face. Thank you very much. I believe that's so. I don't apologize to anyone. I don't, because that makes me wrong, and I don't want to be wrong, because I've strived hard. I have striven the hardest throughout my life. Why should I apologize? Anyway, the more I punish those I punish, the stronger they should be. Thank you very much.